What is up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys doing today? Welcome to another exciting episode of Phenomenal Views, ladies and gentlemen, where you always know that the views are always phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, usually I don't get to make videos on Monday or any other days like that because usually I'm at work, and you guys are probably wondering, are you actually able to do YouTube videos full time? Well, the answer to that question is no, I wish. Sadly, the only reason I'm actually able to make these videos is because I am in quarantine for 3 days, so just hope and prayers that I don't have the virus. If it turns out I am infected with the T virus, though, I already have somebody who knows what to do if I turn. So I decided, well, what am I going to do with all this free time? Well, to actually give you guys content that I've been saying I'm going to do, and I'm glad to be able to have this time to do them. So I decided to finally dive back into the series of The Purge. Now, for all of you who know, I have reviewed the first Purge, the second, and the third. So, only makes sense to review the TV show. No, I haven't finished watching that yet. I decided to finally take my first attempt at reviewing the first Purge, as in Purge number 4. Now, just hearing that title, whenever someone asks you, hey, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, I'm just watching the first Purge. You mean that one with Ethan Hawke? That wasn't that good? No. The first Purge. Yeah, the one with Ethan Hawke. No. Technically, it's the fourth in the series. Well, then why are you saying it's the first Purge? Because that's what the movie's called, the first Purge. Yeah, so whenever you hear someone say the first Purge, you automatically think, oh, they're talking about the first one with Ethan Hawke. No. And I'm saying there could have been other titles for this movie. Heck, I've thought of a couple. The Rise of the Purge, The Beginnings of the Purge, or Purge the Beginning. Something other than the first Purge, because that's going to be very confusing. So, now I will say, in all honesty, with my viewing of all the Purge movies, probably the order would have to go something like this. My favorite of the Purge movies, it's a tie between 2 and 3, between Anarchy and Election Year, because I really liked both. I liked the premise of the second one, where we actually got to see what it was like on Purge night out in the streets instead of being locked inside of a suburban home. And then the third movie was actually a sequel to that one, and I liked that they actually made the continuity consistent. Consistency, it's a thing, and it should be used a lot more. And then, we got a trailer for the first Purge, and I don't really remember the trailer coming out for that. I was thinking, after Election Year, what were they going to do? Were they going to make a movie where some people are going to go after the president after she won and make the Purge a thing again? Or, maybe they were going to do a prequel to see how the Purge started, and that's what this movie is. It is a prequel. Now, if you don't want to know what the movie is about, I'm just going to go ahead and give my rating. In all honesty, I would say I would give this movie probably like a B- to even a C+. The acting is really good. In my honest opinion, it's actually the most interesting of the 4 films. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit, but I just wanted to go ahead and get my grade for this now. If you liked the other Purge movies, you most likely will like this one. Now, in all honesty, I will say, go watch either the Kill Count or Dead Meat podcast, because they do a lot better job of talking about this than most likely I will. But the timeline and the continuity are somewhat iffy. With Purge Election Year and Purge Anarchy. So, and with this one, because it really mixes dates up, in all honesty, it's almost as bad as Texas Chainsaw, where you're supposed to believe that the woman in that movie is 40 years old, but she looks like she's in her 20s, and they hide the date. So, in Purge Election Year, they do hide the date. The timeline is all mixed up. But anyways, but other than that, if you liked the other Purge movies, you will most likely like this one. So I say, if the Purge movies are your kind of thing, you know what you're going to get, I'd say go ahead and give this one a watch. If not, it may not be your, I can't talk. It may not be like your cup of tea. Skip it. Or go watch the Purge TV show. I'm honestly still finishing that myself. I don't know how I feel about it, but okay, so for those who want to stay around for what I'm going to talk about with the movie, I'm glad you're all staying here. Let's dive into the first Purge. Or even The Purge Rises. Let me know what you all think for a better title. Purge the Beginning, Beginnings of the Purge, or The Purge Rises. Let me know what you think out of those 3 titles, because I would rather call it that than the first Purge. So, in all honesty, this movie does actually have a very interesting opening with the NFFA interviewing people, basically saying, what do you do when you're angry? And we get like this really caricature person named Skeletor, who's basically like, he's a wacky character. Like, when you see this guy, you're like, what kind of movie am I watching? This guy has like tribal tattoos all over his face, and they're asking him, what do you do when you're angry? He's like, I pipe up! And his gums are bleeding. He's just a wacky character. A lot of people say he looks like he would belong in a Key and Peele sketch, and I can honestly see that. But it's basically like, the NFFA, they're asking people, what do you do when you're angry? And Skeletor is the one who says, I just want to purge. Interesting words, purge. You may be able to purge soon. So, and that's where we get the title, The First Purge. Now, the reason why I say that this movie is actually the most interesting out of them is because, well, this movie does kind of make you think that, oh, maybe we're going to actually see what led to the start of the Purge. Well, in all honesty, no. I'm hoping that they tackle that in the TV series, but basically, the Purge has already been set. And it's like all the other movies. You got like a couple hours before the Purge starts. But now this one, they say this is going to be an experiment, and it's only going to be contained in one place, Staten Island. And there is secretly a government agenda in this movie, and that is why they hold it in the very lowest income place of Staten Island. And you got this character of Naya, who is she's an anti-Purge. I cannot think of the word. She's basically anti-Purge, and she's holding a rally, a protest. She's an anti-Purge protester, and she's basically she sees the Purge for what it is. She's basically being like, okay, the government is basically making it okay for murder. That's what this is. And then you got other people who are basically okay for the Purge, but like what the government is basically doing is they're saying, you can either leave Staten Island or you can stay on the island, and we will pay you to stay and be a part of this experiment. And if you do more, you will earn more money. So if you go out and you purge, you will make more money versus if you stay home, you'll only make a certain amount of money. So, Naya is calling out the government for what this really is. She's like, okay, they're basically saying, we'll give you money if you stay in this violent area for this night. It's wrong. It's basically giving other people permission to murder. Some people are okay with it, some aren't, and they show real protest footage, and I thought it made it very surreal. I really enjoyed that. And the reason why I say that this is the most interesting is because it makes you wonder, would we ever get to this point? Is this legitimately what would happen, or would the government come in and basically make it look like it was more than what actually is going on? And in all honesty, I feel like this is what the Purge would really be like. Because when the Purge starts, you have people doing stuff like, just vandalizing stuff, burglarizing things. Everybody says that the Purge was a legit thing. They would go and hit up GameStop. I mean, GameStop would be making a buttload more money. Yes, they would be getting robbed every single year, but their insurance would probably go through the freaking roof, and they would be making more money. But so you see, people are doing things like throwing humongous parties, having music turned up all the way, freaking doing drugs out in public, or robbing ATMs. They're doing stuff like this, and then you have this one character named Dr. Updale. She's the one who came up with the Purge, and when she's watching it, she's basically being like, we're gonna see what happens with this experiment, and my science proves all this. And then you have this one guy who's under the president, I guess. He's being like, okay, this isn't good. People are not purging enough. But she's being like, okay, look, this is what my results basically said. I told you science has nothing to do with politics and stuff like that. And then you eventually get to later on, oh shoot, something else is going awry. The government is making this actually look more successful than it actually is. And that is a scary thing. We do get this other character named Dimitri, who is this drug kingpin, but he is somebody with morals. He won't kill women even if they've double-crossed him. He'll be like, okay, let them walk, but make sure they just never come back to Staten Island again. He's someone with morals. Now, yes, he is a drug kingpin, which is not a good thing, and him and Naya used to be a couple, and Naya's, you know what? yeah, the Purge happens once a year, but you ruin people's lives every single day of the year. And then, like, we come to her little brother, Isaiah. Now, Isaiah is actually probably my favorite character in this whole entire movie because you kind of get to experience the Purge through his eyes. Because, you know, he's working for the drug kingpin, but he doesn't know it. And, you know, when the Purge happens, he participates because he's tired of struggling and he wants to make life easier for him and his sister. And the way, like, how they track you, first of all, they stick a freaking implant in your arm, which, heck to the freaking no, but they also give like these really cool contact lenses, and I actually like how they made them different colors because it makes everybody look different, but it also creates for some very easy scares, and they capitalize on that with a scene where he's hiding in a warehouse, where Isaiah's hiding in a warehouse, and you see people like with masks, and you see like their eyes, and it's just a really creepy feel. Now, one thing I will say, this movie does feel different when the Purge alarms go off, whereas in Anarchy and Election Year, when those alarms go off, you're like, oh, let the fun begin. Whereas in this movie, they were able to capitalize on the fear and the dread that was going to be going on during this first year's Purge. And it felt terrifying and very uneasy. When those alarms go off, like, you just get like this feel like, oh, okay, this is not going to be good. And like when Isaiah walks out after the alarms have gone off, the movie, the actor does really good of selling this, okay, this night is completely different from any other night. He does such a magnificent job, and I really like the acting in this movie. I will say one of the downfalls of all these movies is they all have the same formula. They start out with the Purge, and then later on a main villain is brought in, has no real purpose other than to show he's the one leading the militia. In the first one, it was that wacky guy Henry. In the second one, it was that guy with the aviator glasses. In the third one, it was this leader who was trying to help take out the candidate for presidency. And in this one, it's this guy who's dressed up in this BDSM suit with also like this Nazi jacket thing. It's the same thing each time. There's always this big bad who's revealed later on, and it's just something I wish that they would do differently. Like, you know, make this guy somebody that's relevant in the movie instead of bringing this person in just to be killed later on, which is all that they're known for. This movie also does get rid of Skeletor early on once the Purge starts, and then they kind of bring him back later on. It's like they couldn't think of anything else for him to do, because the movie kind of treats Skeletor like he's like this big bad, and then he disappears for a while, and then he comes back later on, kind of like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. But, you know, it's not to save anybody, it's just that they're in his way because he's hunting Isaiah, because Isaiah was going after him for attacking him and basically making him look like a little punk. And, you know, so the movie, we get like this really good action scene. It's all in one take. It's very good. The choreography is great. There's no jump cuts. There is some disbelief in this movie with people using a mattress to hide under a freaking grenade explosion. Or you got that with also hiding in a refrigerator during a nuke, or using leather belts to keep yourself contained on a drain pipe while inside of a tornado. You know, it's stuff like that. This movie does have some very enjoyable moments and some kind of dread moments. It also does kind of feel like it doesn't really know what it wants to be. Half the time it feels like it wants to be scary. Another half the time it feels like it wants to be action-packed. And it really feels like it doesn't really know what it wants to be. But the parts that it gives you, it's very good. I really enjoyed this movie. Of course, though, I almost enjoy every other movie. But I would say probably that this is probably, other than The Purge, my list would probably go... Probably 2, 3, and 4, 1. In all honesty, that's what I would say. But in all honesty, guys, let me know what you thought of the first Purge, and let me know if you guys come up with a better title of this movie, because it's very confusing. I honestly want to know what you guys think. Also, stay safe. If you are quarantined, I pray that we all can get through this together, and I hope that you guys do not have the virus, and if so, my prayers go out to you guys. Have a good day, and I'll be back later with another video. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.